It's the One-Up Turbo Truck Series most time-honored traditions. We've done this every year since the Truck Series was founded, and for the last 3 years, including today, it all happens right here at the Nashville Superspeedway. That's right, we've got 2 races on tap for you this weekend, one today, one tomorrow, both 75 laps, with the same 42 truckers ready to take on the Nashville Superspeedway, a mile and a third of pure racing concrete that is sure to provide some great racing action, that as it always has ever since we started coming here back in 2023. But alongside me in the booth for today's race is Ryan Griffin, as has always been the case. So with that being said, we've got 75 laps today, 75 laps tomorrow. We all know the rules about the inversion doubleheader format. So with that being said, what is it about this racetrack and this race that provides so much of a challenge when we come here every year to do this?
This racetrack, although it appears by its name that it's a super speedway, it's anything but. This track it's got kind of what you could almost say flatter banked corners almost in a way, where it makes it very hard to complete passes here. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't any passing here. It just means it makes it a little more challenging to pass here. So it's a little more of a challenge for the driver as opposed to Atlanta, which we were at last race, which we saw. They were multiple grooves all over. They were all over the racetrack. Here, it's more a single groove track with an opportunity or two to pass. It's a lot more challenging to pass here than it is at Atlanta last week. So if you're out back for this race, it's going to be hard to try to get your way to the front. You can do it. It's very difficult to do so. And then with the fact that we got the second race as well, that also provides almost a good opportunity where if you struggle in the first race, you can kind of diagnose what happened in the first race and try to maybe improve upon it the second race. So while, yes, one race here would be challenging enough, 2 adds that extra element because if something goes wrong, you got the second race to work on it. But how do you improve if you did well in the first race? It's kind of like the trade-off, What do you do to make yourself better if you're already good in the first race?
Well, all that sounds good on paper, but for the last few years we've been here for Turbo Truck Series racing action, it has been non-stop action ever since we started coming here for the doubleheader weekend. There have been lots of passes made for the lead and for several positions further back. It is a single groove racetrack, but we have seen it before. These guys make lunges down to the inside to try and make passes happen, sometimes from way far back, and the action is always intense here. This is why we keep the doubleheader here as opposed to moving it every year. But looking ahead now to the points from Atlanta, Francois Chastain continues to hold an advantage over Paul Villalobos, who won last time out at Atlanta. The margin is 10 points between those two. AF Walsh a further 4 points back. DJ Kurtis, Derek Hamill, both tied for 4th, 19 behind. Top 20 are all separated by 54 points, but I expect that order to shuffle quite a lot today and tomorrow, considering the wild nature of these races, and when you consider that the second race's lineup is going to be a complete flip from how we end here today.
And this almost provides an opportunity in the second race where, as I was just saying, if you run poor in this race, you get
a great starting spot, I'll tell you that much, for the second race tomorrow, because in case you haven't been with us for a doubleheader weekend before, we take all of the lead lap finishers from today's race and invert their positions so that for tomorrow's race, the last car on the lead lap who crosses the line today will start on pole for tomorrow, and the winner of today's race will come from the very back of the field to make it happen, to try and go 2 for 2, but we've never had someone go 2 for 2 on the doubleheader weekend. I'm curious to see if it'll happen today, as we can now bring the starting lineup for today's rendition of the first half of the doubleheader. Francois Chastain, he's the points leader, and he's the pole sitter for today's race, ahead of Blaine Saylor, who's had a rough start to the 2025 season, hoping to rebound in second. DJ Kurtis, always a threat, lining up third alongside Santi Messi. Stoyan completes the top 5, but With DJ Kurtis starting this far up the field at a track type he knows well, would you say he's the one to beat today, or is there someone else you've got a better eye on?
Well, I hate to rule out Kurtis usually when we come to these tracks, but the recent couple of weeks have shown us who two of the players are. It is the 66 of Villalobos and Aoff Walsh. And Aoff Walsh is the one I'm watching here because he's starting 15th. Now, if he can get his way through the field, that may be something we need to watch in this race today, is to watch who can actually make passes and come through the field, because those are the ones that we're going to have to be watching tomorrow too. Because if you, again, as we stated, if you finish higher in this race, you're going to be starting further back in the next race. So we'll get to see who could be the players both today and tomorrow, based on who's able to work their way to the front. And definitely, I'm watching the 02 and the 66 because they finished 1-2 in the last two races. So that's where the momentum is right now. Although, you never can count out Kurtis, and this is his bread and butter. This is his specialty. So you can't ever count him out, especially with him starting up front. But I also don't want to overlook, although yes, he is the pole sitter and he is the point leader, don't overlook Chastain either. I mean, we talk about Kurtis, we talked about the 66, we talked about the 02. Don't overlook Chastain. I do think that Chastain sometimes flies under the radar because we look at other people that we kind of don't notice him until the end of the race. Is like, oh, where'd he come from? Even though he's been there the whole time. So I know it seems odd to say you pick the pole sitter, look at the pole sitter, but I definitely will be watching the pole sitter today.
As will I. This is going to be a lot of fun over the next 75 laps. So, with that being said, we've got 42 ready to take on part 1 of this doubleheader, and we're ready to bring you that action now. It's the 1-Up Turbo Truck Series, race number 4 of the season from Nashville Superspeedway, and the green flag getting ready to get part 1 of this great weekend underway, so stay tuned for that. The first 75 laps of the weekend, ready to go. It is Chastain and Sailor on the front row. The green flag already in the air. The field of 42 passes the start-finish line, and we are underway here at Nashville. And Chastain gets a good launch off the line. He is going to lead the charge down to turn 1, and it looks like he's going to try and bring DJ Kurtis with him if he can get past that 08, and it looks like he'll be able to out of turn 2.
And Kurtis already with a good launch, and obviously Chastain with a good launch. I'm watching the 66 back there, a couple trucks back, trying to see if he can work his way up there too to challenge his his championship challenger from last year and the current championship challenger this year, as it will be Chastain, who leads the first lap here at Nashville.
By quite some margin, as we said, 0.4 of a second the margin between Chastain and Kurtis. But look at Stoyan in the 51. He started this race in 5th position, and it's taken him not even a lap to get up to 3rd. But he might be under pressure because, as you said, this 66 of Villalobos looking to go back-to-back in wins here at Nashville.
There's a lot to be said after you win a race. It feels like the momentum, and we've talked about the 66, that the floodgates could open once he gets that first win. And well, he got that last week. Could this be the floodgates we see opening, as he is now solidly locked down 3rd place at the moment and is trying to pursue Kurtis and Chastain?
And Kurtis
is going to gun for the lead.
Down the inside goes DJ Kurtis for the lead on Francois Chastain to take the lead on lap number 3. And it looks like he's going to bring Villalobos with him, and Rhodes Gray in the 10, and possibly John McFadden in the 98. We've got the Freemans rising to the top here at Nashville. DJ Kurtis is going to lead lap number 3 ahead of Villalobos and Gray. Chastain side by side with McFadden for 4th, and Jeremy Frey trying to stick his nose in. He started this race in 6th. That's where he runs currently.
And I think what we're seeing right now is kind of, we talked about it, or it was talked about kind of somewhat during the week. Would Kurtis respond to Paul winning at Atlanta? We talked that this was pretty much, at least before the season started, that this could be the title battle again this year. And I think the early laps here is kind of Kurtis trying to see if he can get out front, get away from the 66, and try to show that he is possibly that he can answer a opposite what the 66 did is it looks like we got one on pit road already.
Yeah, the 08 of Blaine Saylor. He started this race from the outside pole, and his miserable season in 2025 continues with a very tough break for him as the caution is out. That's actually going to save Blaine Saylor from going a lap down. It looks like Mike White in the 38 is going to go around on the back straightaway to put us under the yellow flag, but this is a huge break for the 08 because he would have been lapped if this had stayed green.
I wonder if they had possibly. It looks like they're changing all 4 tires. So I wonder if they possibly had a tire issue on that 08 truck, and it probably must have had a puncture or something there.
Well, speaking of tires, it's only been 6 laps, but the tires matter so much here. Everybody's going to come down pit road here for 4 fresh tires, a full tank of fuel. I say everybody, we got someone taking a risk staying out. Derek Petty in the number 9. He started this race deep in the field. Jeremy Rogers is going to stay out, and Chris Martens, they're all going to stay out to try and lead a lap here, get a bonus point. They all started from 27th on back, so really, what did you have to lose by trying something only 6 laps in?
Yeah, and then, well, we'll see. The track position, we've seen it before happen to races where track position does matter to some extent. So we'll have to see how long these guys will hang on if they elect to remain on the racetrack, as it looks like they will do so. As everybody pit road, we'll see if Kurtis's crew can rattle off a good stop here and keep him with the lead.
Yeah, they're definitely going to get him out of pit road first because he took fuel only on that pit stop. Everybody else is going for 4 tires. Very interesting call from DJ Kurtis. He wanted to keep the track position because he knew 3 cars stayed out behind him. He's going to definitely leave the pits first as Rhodes Gray, Reggie Fogelman comes out 3rd off the pit lane, and Chastain's going to lose a handful of places. But
well, the 2 notable ones I saw there were Chastain, and even the 66 lost a couple of positions too. Maybe just some varying strategies. I don't know if everybody took 4 tires. It was there. Obviously, we saw Kurtis take fuel only, but there may have been a couple other takers that may not have taken the full 4 tires. It looked like.
Well, we'll get you a replay of what happened to Mike White to put us under this yellow flag, but I think Blaine Saylor is going to get his lap back. He did lose a lap, but he's going to get it back under this yellow, so no harm, no foul. You see, Mike White was in a real hornet's nest here in the midfield. He gets a little help, perhaps, from Joshua Warren. Hits Justin Whitmer, who gets up into the outside wall, and then he hits the 15. But, man, that was an impressive save from Mike White to keep it from going all the way around.
Yeah, it looked like he just I don't know if the truck behind him, I think it was the 88 that got into the back of him there, that just kind of washed up behind him and kind of clipped him. But I'd be more concerned about the 91 of Whitmer took a nice little hit to that out into the backstretch wall.
Yeah, he came out of the pits at the very back. They spent some time buffing out the right side of that truck, so he will line up 41st on the restart. Blaine Saylor was given his lap back, so everyone will be on the lead lap for the restart, which should come in about a lap and change's time. But what I'm curious of, we've got 3 Mercedes trucks up here that did not pit. Derek Petty, Jeremy Rogers, and Chris Martens. I'm curious because they started 27th, 34th, and 38th. These were not the cream of the crop as we saw at the front of this field earlier. But I'm curious if with some clean air, some track position, if they're able to hold on.
This will also give us a little indication of what we could possibly see tomorrow, too, because, as we stated, we may see trucks that are not running good here today end up at the front of the field tomorrow. So this could be a strategy play on their parts that, hey, if we're going to end up at the back at some point in this race, we know we're probably going to be at the front tomorrow. Let's see what happens. Let's see what our truck does out front. So this may be their opportunity just to try and see what the truck will do.
And try to adjust on it possibly if that opportunity comes to start at the front tomorrow. They'll get another chance to work on it possibly later overnight to try and make something happen for tomorrow's race. But it is Petty, Rogers, and Martens leading the way. DJ Kurtis first off pit road. He lines up 4th. Rhodes Gray is the first one on fresh tires. He will be in 5th. Reggie Fogelman is 6th, McFadden 7th, Santi Messi 8th, Di Lorenzo and Villalobos round out the top 10. The pace car gets ready to pull off for this restart on lap 10.
Now we'll see on the initial start, we saw Kurtis kind of pull out a little advantage until the 66 kind of started to run him back down prior to that yellow. We'll see after this restart, Kurtis immediately jumps to the outside of the 18 to see if he can get to the outside there. The 10 going to try to pounce on him into turn 1.
Yeah, I think Rhodes Gray pulled a dummy move on DJ Kurtis, tried to make the 22 go high around the 18, so he could immediately cut low to try and get by on his fresh tires. I know it's only by 6 or 7 laps, but every lap on your tires matters here, and Rhodes Gray is demonstrating that, immediately going on the charge after DJ Kurtis, as the 3 who stayed out this is the break they needed, those 2 battling side by side behind them.
Yeah, the other thing we're going to watch too is we know how good Kurtis's truck was out front. Now he's got a couple of trucks that he's behind, and he has obviously the older tires as well than the trucks that are behind him. So we'll see which one wins out here in that battle.
Meanwhile, Derek Petty leading his first laps in one-up competition today as Jeremy Rogers trying to do the same. Gets underneath the 9 truck. 55 now to the point, and he's bringing Martens with him. Once you get onto that high groove of a racetrack where all the rubber builds up on your tires, that is not going to help the 9. And look, he's backslid all the way back to 5th place already.
And you can see it took him a minute, those guys that pitted, to try to get around him, but once they got the line going, here they all come. The 10 is there, the 3 of Messi, the 66 is in that group as well. So once they get kind of lined up, they started going away, and they kind of trapped the Kurtis back there too against those guys. So these guys saw an opportunity, they jumped in the line, and was like, okay, let's go get around these guys and go settle this between us.
And that moves Rhodes Gray to the lead. I believe those are his first laps led this season, so good on him. And how about this 4 truck, Mitchell Carter for Lightning Supersport, a rookie, the highest running rookie at a race behind Rhodes Gray. So Carter doing a very strong run in this UPS Chevrolet. He's had a rough start to the season, but he's demonstrating his abilities here as Villalobos cuts low on Rhodes Gray to take the lead on lap 13.
Well, it didn't take long. I kind of had a feeling he was going to find his way to the front. And, well, it took 14 laps for anybody that was wondering, as the 66 will go to the front and going to trade the 4 into the 2nd position. John McFadden, another great run for that 98 truck, now sitting there trying to take 3rd.
He needs it.
Yeah,
he needs it after that DNF at Atlanta.
I just saw him on shot 2. I talked about him earlier in the pre-race. AF Walsh there in the top 10. He's running 7th at the moment, trying to see if he can gain more spots. So could we be seeing our round 3 between the 02 and the 66 before the day's out?
Yeah, and how about there's AF Walsh right there as McFadden powers past Mitchell Carter. But I saw that 26 back there, Brian Grigsby. How about a great welcome home for him? This is his home race, and Heatwave Automotive have given him a truck worthy of competing here today. He started this race down in 19th. He's already fought his way up to the top 10 in a truck that didn't even make the field in the first 2 races.
Yeah, but I'm going to mention it again. That 02, we literally could be seeing a rerun of the last 2 races. Because again, I said it's starting 15th in this field. It was going to be a question. Okay, what can they do? Can they make a statement that they're a competitor by coming through the field? And here he is trying to get a 2-for-1 here into turn 3 and 4 as he looks to the inside of the 4 and the 66.
Yeah, you don't want to be stuck on the outside. You don't want to be stuck on the very top of the race. You don't want to be stuck top 3 wide. It's bad enough being on the middle groove of this racetrack when you're up all the way in the marbles as they get so close to each other through 1 and 2. You really lose a lot of time, and that 66, it just demonstrates how good of a truck that is that he hasn't lost more time up there.
Yeah, and he's fighting too. He's fighting to try to not lose any more time than what he already has. As this is a great little fight for 2nd right now, as the 10 truck is kind of pulled a little gap. I think we'll check the gap here at the line. It's probably about 1/2 a second or so.
Yeah, and
not quite a little under 1/2 a second.
Yeah,
but.
And I once again have to give a call to this 26. I know we're supposed to have a neutral view of these drivers and teams, but this has really impressed me. In the 2 races this truck has been in, they did not qualify the first 2. They put Brian Grigsby in and immediately have been on the pace. He's just made the pass on Villalobos to move up into 6th position. Incredible rebound for this Heatwave Automotive team.
You know what that is? It's again, I I don't want to harp on him because he was once my teammate in the series, but that's Grigsby behind the wheel. That's the experience of having somebody that's competed in this series,
Four-time
running
winner
for your
as well.
team. Somebody that's won in this series, yeah, somebody that's won in this series, competed week in, week out. You put that expertise behind the wheel of a truck, it'll make that equipment better. And Grigsby obviously is showing that today that hey, I don't think it was the equipment.
And another guy I want to give a call to is a few trucks ahead of him now, this 2 truck of Bedard. He's had a miserable start to 2025, 2 DNFs in the first 3 races, but he's now fought his way up to 6th as well. So Bedard giving that Crown Ultra Racing team a very strong run in this too. And we often see this at Nashville. We often see underdog performances, and we often see the lesser teams shine. And I don't know if it's the nature of this truck racing at this track or not, but always a thrill to see, as McFadden has closed the gap on Rhodes Gray.
And it's not just McFadden. The 3 truck of Messi is also there in that mix too. He's pulled right to the back bumper of McFadden. He's going to start looking to the inside of McFadden. If McFadden wants to go and lead this thing, he's going to have to get around this 10, or the 3 is going to get him. And the O2 may even get the 3, as here comes the O2 into the fight. So the battle for the lead has really tightened up here within the last couple of laps.
It's been excellent to watch, for sure. But Rhodes Gray has been a consistent presence at the front of this field for a decent number of laps now, has to be said. DJ Kurtis fought his way back up into the top 10, I noticed as well. He's back in 9th now. But there you see him in the back of your shot. And right behind him, man, you want to talk about a guy who was disappointed after Atlanta. This guy was certainly one of them. Max Broomer, this 13. He was up at the front on that final restart. Could have won that race, but got shuffled out of line late. I think this is going to be his opportunity to prove that was no fluke and that he's here to contend.
Right now, you see where he's running. He's running just behind our defending series champ. So, what a better way to show that you're worthy of competing in the series and racing the defending series champ for a position. So, that's definitely a marker as McFadden has taken the lead now, and Walsh trying to take over second.
Yeah.
Unless he kind of is in a battle actually with the 66. The 66 is going to take that spot.
Yeah, Gray got caught up on the outside, and that's just killed his momentum. It's going to let Walsh and Villalobos through, but it's John McFadden who's established himself out front. These are his first laps led since Daytona.
And I said it again, and here they are. Granted, they're battling for second at the moment, but there's the 66 of the O2 again. I mean, honestly, at this point, this is the 4th race of this season, and the 3rd of those 4 that we've seen these 2 battle. So maybe we could be seeing our title contenders come into play here. Maybe these 2 are 2 of the title contenders we got to watch.
And even at Daytona, they were running decently well. Walsh got trapped a lap down. Villalobos got caught up in a crash. But they were doing very well at Daytona as well. 4 for 4 in races where these guys have really performed and shined. As Villalobos now ducks to the inside of McFadden, trying to take the lead back.
And the thing is, too, with the 66 is, we talked about the floodgates opening up. It's like you win one, you got a boost of confidence. It's like the crew experienced that thrill of victory. They're like, they want it again. I almost feel like after you win a race, that the chances of you winning your second race come quicker because your crew knows that thrill of winning. They want that thrill again. And they know they know what they did the first time. Well, let's see if we can up it one notch and get us another one. So definitely riding the momentum with that 66, and we're proving it right now, at least leading this race.
And while you were talking, we were taking a look at the back of the field. That gamble by staying out for Derek Petty has not paid off. He is currently running in 42nd position, 7.5 seconds off the leads. He restarted as the leader. That just goes to show you, once the tires really start to age, you just can't recover. And he has 6 lap older tires than everyone else. Chris Martens was also back there, Jeremy Rogers. So the gamble did not pay off, but if we get a late caution, it could be worth trying.
Well, I think the more notable thing in that whole exchange was how many laps they ran. They only ran 6 laps. And that shows you how much that 6 lap difference actually meant once we ran 20 or so laps. So it's definitely something we're going to have to watch, especially if we get a late yellow in this race, and see what teams might do. So
Yeah, the problem
it's
there is
definitely something we're going to have to keep an eye on.
the problem there is if we get a long run and then a late caution comes out, if you stay out then, you'll be on much older tires than those three were earlier. You're going to sink like a stone. So
Exactly my point, which is if we get a run like this where we go green for a bit and then get a late yellow, you're almost forced into pitting. There's no, you're not going to be able to stay out and maintain it as we saw, only 6 laps on the tires, and they were not able to maintain there. So this race could be in the hands of the pit crews if we get a late caution.
And meanwhile, DJ Kurtis has likewise sunk like a stone. He is now almost fallen out of the top 20 now, with Francois Chastain falling back with him. Might be something to do with his tires being a little older. It's just that his trucks may be a little better. That's why he's able to hang on to his position for so long. But Chastain now ducks underneath him. Whitmer, who started at the back, remember, trying to make a charge back up through the field. So we got comers and goers as we approach halfway here.
What I'm kind of surprised at, you just mentioned his name because he was underneath Kurtis, is Chastain, our pole sitter. I mean, I don't know how he ended up on the lower end of the top 20 there, but he was up there with these guys. It's not like they played a different pit strategy. They took 4 tires like everybody else, and yet they haven't been able to recover as well as we saw the 66 drive back up there, or the 02. So that's something that we should definitely note about that one truck. It doesn't seem like they have as good a truck in traffic. And going back to Kurtis they took fuel only on their stop, so they were essentially on the same tires as the 9 and those others that stayed out. It's just Kurtis, being the driver he is, is trying to power through it. So we'll have to see once these guys get on equal footing again and get on equal footing tires if Kurtis is able to drive his way back up there.
As it looks like McFadden now making a move down the inside of Rhodes Gray to take the lead. Gray took it from Villalobos about a lap ago. Now, the 98's looking to stick his nose in, take the lead, and he has, and he's brought Villalobos with him. So Rhodes Gray, in the space of a lap, has fallen from first to third, but he is able to tuck back in line to try again.
One of the things I'm noticing here, too, is somebody will pull out to a little bit of advantage. We saw a lead at one point, I think, of half a second. But then it's almost as if the field kind of accordions back on itself. The leaders kind of accordion back together. And suddenly you got, the battle for the lead. You'll get a pass for the lead. The guy will take off for a little bit, and the accordion's back together again. So I don't know if it's just these guys, once they get the lead, they're trying to conserve their stuff and not try to run their stuff too hard. But it's just a little oddity I noticed, and it's kind of interesting because so far everybody that's taken lead has done that. Now it'll be the 66 that looks like he's going to try to take the lead from McFadden.
Yeah, we've seen the same cast of characters at the front of the field as previous races. Oh, and I think I saw the caution lights on. So they're racing back to the yellow flag, our second of the day. It'll come on lap 35. I'm curious to see what has brought this out. I saw one on pit road. I think it was Jeremy Rogers in the 55. Not a real surprise. He hasn't pit yet till now. So maybe something fell off. Yeah, everybody who stayed out under that early caution has now pit. I wonder if something fell off one of their cars to put us under the yellow flag here.
It'd be interesting to see once we get it sorted out here, maybe what the cause of the yellow was. But yeah, this is a big break for those guys that did stay out. I noticed obviously Kurtis is the notable one because he wasn't in that group as they came to pit road. So this is going to help Kurtis, at least, as we said, the fresh reset. We'll see what he can do now that he's going to have fresh tires on that truck.
And the good news for Petty, Martins, and Rogers, they're going to take the wave around here, and they're going to get back on the lead lap. Sure, their tires are going to be about maybe a lap older, but they'd be in a much better position here than if they were trapped a lap down on that inside lane on the restart. So these three are going to stay out. They'll take the wave around under yellow while we check for the cause of the caution. And they're going to get their laps back, which is good. We want to see as many people finish on the lead lap as possible in this doubleheader. But everybody else on pit road waiting the attention of their crews.
We'll see. Again, we noticed a couple of, like I said, we saw Kurtis with the fuel only stop before. I think we're pretty much going to see 4 tires from everybody in here, though. We'll see which crew gets it done here.
Yeah, it looks as 4 tires across the board. I think Villalobos is going to lead him off, and half Walsh in second. That the irony.
I'm telling you, those two, they very well could be our title contenders this year because it seems like every week they're competitive. Even though they didn't have the result, probably either one wanted at Daytona, but you figure 1-2 finishes the last two races for those two. Could we be gearing up for a third with the way this is setting up?
We're going to get you a restart here within the next lap, or lap and a quarter, I should say. But this time, we're going to have all 42 cars on the lead lap on pretty much equal tires. The 3 at the back are probably about a lap older on their tires than everyone else, but that shouldn't really be a big factor. So Villalobos is going to lead. Walsh in second. We've seen that a bunch already this season, as you said. Rhodes Gray in third. Mitchell Carter continuing his very strong performance today in fourth. And Audrey Anzac, a new face in the top 10. She started this race down in 35th and has climbed her way up into the top 5 in the first half.
And we also got a couple of guys I noticed in the top 10 too. The 11 and the 92 of Wells have jumped their way into the top 10 through everything that's happened today. So we'll have to see. As much as we continue to harp on the whole 6602 battles you've seen, we got other players in here that we can't ignore. So we'll have to see what happens here on this restart with everybody being on equal tires. This is what we're going to see. Is it track position, or is there a better truck that's a couple spots back that could charge their way up into this mix?
Yeah, and who knows? We could even have a winner that's not even in this top 10 right now. That is the strength of this field, where we have so many contenders to win this race. We couldn't even count them all in the top 10. But it's going to be Villalobos and Walsh leading the field to green. We're going to take the halfway lap, actually, this time. So we're going to start the second half of this race with a restart. And I, for one, am very curious to see who gets the best jump as the pace truck pulls off.
We'll see here as they come down. Flag in the air, and it looks like the 66 will take off. See if I don't see anybody diving yet to the top 5. Got a couple of movers at the back.
And there's Rhodes Gray. He's the first one to blink.
Gray to the inside of Walsh. See if he can get the nice little run here through 1 and 2. He does. Looks like he will firmly take the second position. See if he can set sail after the 66.
And Audrey Anzac as well, sticking it under Mitchell Carter for the 4th position, and she's bringing her teammate Messi with her, and McFadden as well. They're gonna train their way past Carter in the 4, who's losing a bunch of positions on the restart, but he might get picked up here by that 11 back there to let him fall back in line. So Villalobos has quite a big lead on his hands, about 0.4 of a second. That's about as big as we've seen anyone get today. And some more faces entering the top 10 we haven't talked about yet. Di Lorenzo in the 77, a strong run for Incendia Motorsports. And how about that truck right behind him, the 99? That has put all 3 of the Express Motorsports trucks into the top 10 at some point today.
And then, again, I made note of him before, but it looks like he is starting to recover. Chastain behind our point leader coming into the day, Chastain, trying to crack his way back into the top 10. He's almost there.
We got 3
wide. 3 wide
yeah.
here for what I believe is the 3rd position.
It is, and Messi just swooped past both his teammate and the O2 to move up in the 3rd, and he's bringing McFadden along for the ride. But I think McFadden's going to try and cut under him here, thank him for his generosity by passing him down the front stretch. So the 98 in a great position to move back up in the 3rd place.
And I think we're starting to see these guys mix it up with the O2 and the 66, like McFadden, Gray, and Messi and Anzac. So that's why I said the story of the season so far we've seen has been the 66 and 02, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we got other players here that we can't ignore. So they're definitely making it known right now as the 10 tries to see if he could track down the 66 and reel him back in, which he did cut a little bit out of lead that time.
And look at this, 3 wide again. This 99 is going places. He's bringing his teammate in the 13 with him. The Express trucks, the Express Motorsports team, they've brought 3 competent race trucks here today. McFadden's been up front all day. Max Broomer doing a strong run as well. And the 99 has clawed his way up to the top 10 after starting 28th. So Express certainly brought the right package here to Nashville this weekend.
And I'm also noting, again, these ones that started deeper in the field that made their way up there. We mentioned the 83. We mentioned the 2 just now, the 99 and the 13. So these are the trucks we're going to have to watch tomorrow when the order gets shuffled. And we'll see if they can do the same thing tomorrow as well. And here's Kurtis on the rebound, too. Now that he's got fresh tires on that truck, he is trying to charge his way through the field 3 wide back here.
Yeah, he's in 23rd now. Probably passed a few since the timing updated, so he's probably now up into the top 20. Mitchell Carter's actually backslid a bit. That's a bit disappointing to see, because Carter was having a really good day today so far. In that 4, tries to cut low on Kurtis to prevent him from moving forward. We got a bit of a stack up here between DiLorenzo, Joshua Warren, Mike White, and Josh Gibson. And Carter and Kurtis, I think they're going to try and scythe past all 4 of them.
Carter immediately going to go to the bottom, which is the preferred lane here. He will get 2 for 1, and Kurtis going to see if he can try to follow that same route. Is back up front. It's been the usual players today, and I guess it's just going to come down to who makes the right move at the right time. Because again, as I said, the lead again tightens back up again, and we get a little shuffle for the lead. Somebody will take the point, pull away just a little bit, and the accordion's all back together again. So I think this is just going to come down to who makes that move and is able to get it to the checker flag today. So it'd be interesting to watch this, because it's been awesome to watch this battle at the front.
And keep in mind as well, they're not going to be able to make it the rest of the race on the fuel and tires they have. They're going to have to come in again. So that's going to be a factor as well, deciding the rest of this race. They're going to have to pit with about 10-15 laps to go. That's going to definitely shape the rest of this race. I can guarantee it. And we talk about new faces in the top 10 as we see McFadden go for the lead on Villalobos again. Look at that 5 truck back there. Zach Fry, the other Crown Ultra Racing driver. We saw his teammate Bedard up at the front earlier. Now Fry has moved himself up into 4th position. Incredible run.
It's like what I said about we were talking about the 66 and 02. We got to watch the other players. Now we're starting to see these other guys say, hey, I'm throwing my hat into the ring, as we said with the 5, and obviously the teammates to the 98 being in the mix as well. So it's just going to come down to who sets themselves up right here for this last little run after the last pit stop, and who puts themselves in the best position possible. And this is when the good teams come to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, here's Bedard, the other Crown Ultra truck. He's hanging on to a top 15 spot right now, so that team also figured something out here today. We've got Francois Chastain. He's fought his way back to the top 10. All 3 of the Express trucks are in the top 10. One of them is leading the race, but for how much longer is the question, because Villalobos is trying to get the lead back again, as Fry has once again established himself by passing AF Walsh to move up to 3rd. He's going for 2nd now.
You can say that 5 truck, I guess you could say Fry is flying right now, because that 5 truck is on a rail. I watched him close the gap on that battle for the lead between the 66 and 98, and I mean, he closed that gap, and he might be one of the quick trucks right now. It also maybe kind of helps that he got the 02 helping him there behind him too. So, but man, he is up in the mix right now. He's a player right now.
And keep in mind, Zach Fry has never posted a top 10 finish in his career before. Granted, it's only been a couple races, but this is a career day building for Zach Fry, and I'm very happy to see it. As Villalobos now takes the lead back from McFadden, and Fry making a move for 2nd now.
He's going to make a move on the guy that was so dominant at Daytona, and I think he knows that. He's like, I'm racing around, but now he's got the 02 on his bumper. He's trying to catch the 66. He's like, I'm sandwiched between the guys who finished 1-2 in the last 2 races. Maybe this is my shot.
Yeah, but that help only gets you so far, and AF Walsh now ducks to the inside of both of those leaders. Walsh going to try and get 2 for 1 here. He's already passed Fry to move back up in the 2nd, but he doesn't want to stop there. He's trying to go after Villalobos now as McFadden re-enters the conversation again.
You see, I think I saw kind of a smart move out of Fry, though. Again, he is a rookie driver, but I think I seen kind of a smart move there. Walsh went to try to make the 3-wide move into turn one, and Fry, I think, washed up just a little bit to stay behind the 66 and keep from going 3-wide, which actually didn't lose him that much. I mean, he's going to lose a couple spots here being in the higher lane, but it could have been a lot worse if he got, kicked to the middle or kicked to the very top groove. So he actually kind of did a smart thing to let those faster guys go and kind of maintain where he's at. Here we go again, the 02 versus the 66, although I think the 98 may have something to say about that battle.
And the 3.
As does the 3, I think.
Yeah, these 4 have been pretty much up there all day. Messi now making the move 3 wide down on the bottom, putting McFadden in the middle. AF Walsh up in the loose stuff up high. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. But McFadden squeezes his way past both of them, and he establishes himself back in the second place. We're closing in on 20 laps to go, and the racing is just as intense now as it was on lap 1.
And I mentioned him earlier. And yeah, I see him lurking in the shadows again. Our point leader, the 1 truck. There's a reason I think why Chastain is the point leader right now, and that's a good example of it. When I mentioned it back there, when we saw Kurtis falling back there because of being not on good tires, I was like, what is he doing back there? That doesn't make sense to be back there. Look where he is now as we come to 20 to go and setting up for this final pit stop. He's right there challenging, and now is in the top 5 in the running order. So Chastain kind of doing what I saw Kurtis do last year, so could be something to note for that one team as the year goes on. We may have found another title contender.
And remember, Chastain has not won in a while. It's been a couple years, actually. It's been since 2023. It's the last time we saw Francois Chastain in victory lane. So he's been consistent all this time. He's one of the contenders for a reason, but I'm sure he'd love nothing more than to put that 1 truck back in victory lane to prove he still belongs, as once again, Zach Fry proving he belongs by sticking it under Santi Messi in their battle for second position.
I am impressed. Honestly, right now, I think this 5, at least to me, has been driver of the day, because the runs he's taken, it's like he's taking his opportunities when they come. He's not really pushing his stuff as much as he needs to, just a little bit each time to try to make a move here or there. And, I mean, look where he's running. He's running top 3 at the moment. Looks like he might lose the second position here to the 66. But what a run for this 5 team. They for a guy that so far this season has not had a top 10 finish, he's making the good case today that today might be the day he breaks that streak.
And another guy I'd make a case for driving a race, the 99. He started 28th today. He's fought his way up to 4th, and he will admit he is not great on the ovals. He is very much a road course guy, but he has proven from 28th to 4th already. We're coming up on 15 to go. He's in contention here.
And I'm going to mention him because again I see him lurking in that top 10. We can't forget about him. The 22 of Kurtis now up into the top 10, back into the top 10, running there in 7th. We said what the charge is going to be once he got the equal tires back on. Here he is. There's a reason why he won this title a year ago. There's a reason why he's a contender. Here he is.
And meanwhile, AF Walsh starting to fade a bit. He's now fallen out of the top 10. Bit alarming to see, but maybe he's setting up for that final pit stop and that dash to the checkered flag. See what he can do there. But yeah, the 99 has moved his way up into 3rd place. The 13's not too far behind either. All 3 of the express trucks are in the top 10, which I think, if they finish that way, would be a first for the team.
And you mentioned it briefly, but I want to go in a little more. This final pit stop, it's going to be a matter of who blinks first. Who is going to get those fresh tires first?
Who pulls the trigger, yeah.
And try to gain that ground. That's going to be... Although, we did see this kind of play out a little bit in Atlanta, where the fresh tires, it was the guys that actually pitted late, but that was because we had a caution in the middle, kind of at the end of those stops, that kind of bunched everybody back together again. This is going to be really interesting here to see if anybody tries that.
Meanwhile, look out inside. moving for third place, it's DJ Kurtis. Down on the inside, he passed 2 in one go. He's now up into the podium positions, as looks like Nate Champion has a bit of an issue on his truck. He just came out of pit road, so he is going to fall a lap down. He needs a caution to come, or no, he's had the issue. He's coming to pit road this time, so he's going to lose a lap, and he needs a caution to come out now.
We've already seen 2 good time cautions to help people out, so
yeah, he needs that caution
I guess what they're hoping in the 32 pit.
He needs that caution in the next 15 seconds, because we're going to get to a point soon where we stop giving out free passes, and when, yeah, it looks like he had a left side tire go down. He is going to be in trouble unless we get a caution right this second, because if he doesn't get that, he's going to start right shotgun on the field for tomorrow.
Well, with 13 laps to go, will we see any more pit stops? I know, granted that the 32 had an issue, but
I think we are, because these guys, they were only able to go about 32, 33 laps on a tank, and we're closing in on that window really quick.
But you see, this is the flip side now with the 32. We were saying how he needed a caution right before the get it quickly before the leaders come by. Now you don't want a caution. You want this to cycle through.
Well, yeah, and then he'll have the freshest.
Then he's going to have the fresh tires to start off with.
Well,
that's what I was saying.
He'll have fresh left side tires. He only took lefts on that pit stop.
But still, it'll be interesting. I want to see how that works out for him if we stay green here. Granted, it sucks to run into a problem and have an issue, but we were right near where this cycle was possibly going to start.
And Kurtis is up to second in the meantime. And we do have caution on the speedway, which is really going to kill Nate Champion's race. He's going to be...
Man, he needed that caution to come out maybe 2 or 3 laps earlier than what it did.
Yeah, that is tough for Nate Champion. He's going to be stuck a lap down now. And the worst part about it is he won't even be able to start up at the front, because we're going to get the restart within 10 laps to go. So that's just a really unfortunate break for Nate Champion, a kind of a double whammy, if you were. But now this is going to bring everybody back down pit road for a final splash and dash. And no one's going to take that gamble here.
Yeah, and what's going to be interesting here too, this will be a dash restart, which means the restart is going to be everything for these guys. You thought the restarts were, well, we saw some dive moves in the earlier restarts. Wait till you see this restart.
Oh yeah, these guys are going to go, they're going to give it even more of everything than they did earlier. So this is going to be a really fun restart coming up soon. I think it's another debris caution this time around, because I don't see any extra skid marks. I don't see anyone with damage. I don't see anyone off pace. So I think we've just been having some rare debris yellows that have slowed the action down. And I mean, I'm not one to complain, because we're going to get set for a great shootout at the end.
I'm not going to complain either, because we'll see how it's good job to avoid an incident there with the 98.
I think we did see some contact, though, further back. I think I saw some contact between Villalobos and Stoyan, so very curious to see if that's going to impact the 66 at all for the rest of the day. But it looks as though McFadden's going to lead the race off pit road ahead of Chastain. Looks like Derek Hamill's got some issue under the hood of his truck they're diagnosing. They'll be able to get him back out, I hope, maybe a lap or 2 down, and that's really going to hurt him. He's going to start at the back tomorrow as well. So you see Derek Hamill still sitting on pit road. They're diagnosing what's wrong with the 59. This is just costing him laps, and at this rate, he's going to start tail end for tomorrow. But that's not the end of the world. We've seen Audrey Anzac make it work from 35th to the top 10. So who knows? Maybe the 59 will be a contender tomorrow. But we're going to get a restart, I think, with about 7 laps to go. And this is going to be really close, because McFadden is going to be your leader. Chastain in second. It's been a long time for Chastain, and McFadden has never won in the Turbo Truck Series. So Max Brummer in third. He's never won either.
We've seen some dicing for the lead today, as far as long as they stay close, you have a chance to get under the leader. We've seen 3 wide passes for the lead as well. So with the fact that we're only going to have, which will be 7 laps to go when we get the green, this could be very fun to watch. And you don't want to turn away because the guy who wins this race may not necessarily be the one leading it at this point.
Or even going into the final lap, it might not be. It wasn't the case at Atlanta, and it might not be the case here either. But going through the rest of the top 10, like I was saying, McFadden hasn't won in the Turbo Truck Series. Chastain hasn't won in a long time. Brummer has never won. As Hamill, you see, rejoins the race, he'll be a lap down. Champion is also a lap down, so there'll be 40 on the lead lap. And just going through the rest of the top 10 here, we're just going to take a quick look, see where everybody's at, because it's not just the top 3 we're keeping our eye on, although because everyone in this top 10 really has a chance at this point. Because look,
yeah, well,
AF Walsh
for the back. I was gonna say you got the teammates. AF Walsh is 4th, Kurtis is 5th. You got the 66, which we talked. They might have had a little bit of pit road damage. We'll see how that affects them. So yeah, we've got players in this top 10, if not the entire top 10 itself. So 7 laps. This is going to be fun to watch. We'll see who comes out on top with the end of these 7 laps.
Oh, look
We're
at
green
this.
and already
They're fanning out big time.
Fanning out.
Yeah, look at that. Walsh up high, Kurtis down low. Brummer trying to cover off Walsh. Now he swoops down to cover off Kurtis. He ducks to the inside of Francois Chastain. This 13 is flying on the restart. He could get his teammate down the back straight.
He's got enough of a run. He might as well take it. You're coming to 6 laps to go, and it could be for your first win. He's definitely going to dive on him, but I think he's probably going to be the leader here coming out of 4.
What a day this has been
Faden tries to hang on the outside. He's got a little help from the one truck behind him. Brummer has Kurtis behind him.
Yeah, what a day this has been for Express Motorsports. They're running 1-2 and with the 99 back there in a supporting role. But Kurtis now.
No, it might be Kurtis. Kurtis going to look to the inside of 13. He may have the move here into 3.
Yeah, there's no time to play around anymore. You got to take every opportunity you get. Brummer has the lead, but only briefly. As Kurtis, he has to check up just a tiny bit, but he's still going to have the run out of 4 to get underneath the 13. 5 laps to go as we got a couple on pit road with some issues of their own. Lee Muse, Clayton Sessom, Ramashko, and the 44, they're all going to fall off the lead lap, and that's going to set them very far back for tomorrow as Kurtis goes to the lead.
And we got to keep our eye up front. We got a dogfight now up front. Kurtis is going to hit the lead, but he's going to have the 99 on his bumper. Chastain is pretty much in 3rd at this moment. The 10 back up there into 4th.
Yeah, Brummer and McFadden, they're fading. They're fading on that outside line. Now it's a matter of who can get to the bottom and who can time their move just right. 4 to go.
I don't know. I maybe watch some of these trucks back here. Watch Anzac and the 83. Watch Walsh. They may be able to, and where'd the 08 come from?
He was a lap down about 7. He was a lap down at one point in time in this race. Now he has fought his way back to the top 10. This is why you never give up in the one-up competition, because he was a lap down. He could have given up, waited until tomorrow, but he has fought his way through. He is up to the top 10, and he is right there where it counts. 3 to go. Chastain leads, but Rhodes Gray right on his tail.
Rhodes Gray leads it now at this point into turn 1. But again, I'm watching these ones back here. If somebody can get a run back here, like the 02, like where the 08 is, that could be the truck that ends up winning this thing when we come to 2 to go. We'll have to watch the intervals too. You got to close the interval now if you're going to try to make a move on the leader.
Yeah, Brummer, McFadden, Villalobos, they're all fading late. Heartbreak for those guys. But we're coming to 2 to go. Kurtis now underneath Chastain for 2nd. He could be setting himself up great for a move on the 10 the next time around.
I talked about earlier in this race. I said with the 66 winning in Atlanta, I knew Kurtis was going to come into this weekend looking to try to win, to basically answer for the 66 win.
Yeah, and he's not even waiting.
His answer.
He's not waiting to the white flag. He's going now. Down on the inside of Rhodes Gray. We're coming to the white flag this time. It'll be Gray and Kurtis side by side for the lead. 1 lap to go from Nashville.
I said after the 66 won Atlanta, I said I think this 22 team needs to answer the very next week. They qualified 3rd. And he's trying to see if he can do what the 66 did last week and make the winning move on the last lap.
Down the backstretch they go, side by side for the lead. Rhodes Gray does not want to give up his first win in the Truck Series, but DJ Kurtis never count out the 22.
Sent it in.
They are going to be side by side out of 4. Final time, drag race to the line. Kurtis and Gray to the line. It will be Kurtis by half a car length.
Man, Gray held his own on that high lane, and I thought for a second he was going to be able to get the run off the last corner. But the champion prevails. Kurtis wins his first race of the season. And man, he basically, as I said, set the answer back to the 66. Hey, you won one on the last lap. I can win one on the last lap as well.
Yeah, as we got a little bit of a stack up back here. Everybody trying to get to that access road at the same time. Oh, man. What a mess. But Rhodes Gray comes up just a bit short in second, but I think he's going to be a real contender tomorrow. I guarantee it. And Blaine Saylor, he came back from a lap down to finish third. His first podium in the Truck Series. How about that to end this off? And looking a little further back, there he is. There's our pole sitter for tomorrow. He made his Turbo Truck Series debut today. Steven Myers in the 54 for the RSAG team. He finished 37th today, but he's the last one on the lead lap. He will be your pole sitter for tomorrow's race.
And just going back, I mean, I looked up, seeing late. It was like, where did he come from? Great podium finish for him.
And not just him, the 6, Curtis Stevenson. We hadn't talked about him at once today, and he finished 4th.
It's like what I said, you never know where you can start and where you end up at the end of the day. You may start way deep in the field, but at the end of the day, it's where you stand in the running order. And those guys with 3rd and 4th place finishes, and look forward to tomorrow.
Absolutely. So, from Ryan Griffin and from myself as well, thanks for joining us for part 1 of this doubleheader. You thought this was fun? We'll run it back, do it all over again tomorrow. So, congrats to DJ Kurtis' second career win, his first of the season. We'll see if he can come from the back of the field to do it all over again, this time tomorrow.